Hey, this is the Coach Ed Podcast. I am Ed Weefholder. You can track me down at strengthfitnessandspeed.com. The biggest warning flag that I ever get when I'm starting to work with a new athlete or a person, it involves hearing a comment like, he or she needs pushed, or this kid needs pushed, or they'll just sometimes flat out say, I'm not motivated. Well, good luck. Some of this has to come from within. You try to succeed at anything, physical, mental, career, it's got to come from within. There is a local sports writer in Pittsburgh. His name's Bob Labriola. He referenced Chuck Noll recently in one of his columns, and Chuck Noll's view on self-motivation. And Chuck Noll said, this is not direct, this is, paraphrase, he would tell you, my job is to teach you how to play this game correctly. I will never give you a motivational speech. If I have to motivate you, I'm going to fire you. So I guess, getting fired would motivate some, right? If you think about it, why do you need kicked in the ass or somebody screaming in your face? What you got to do is you got to learn how to motivate your own self. And in one of my jobs, I used to coach sports, and now I'm a performance coach. But you got to figure out what buttons need push in order to teach someone as to how to motivate themselves. So instead of being the motivator, you've got to do the teaching where you're teaching someone to learn how to motivate themselves. And there's the old famous phrase, give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach him how to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Makes a lot of sense. You've got to figure out ways to push your own buttons. You've got to get creative with this. One of the ways you can get at the root of what motivates you is you have to break things down into small little pieces. You got to look at things as one step at a time. I suppose some motivation is innate. It kind of comes from within. Maybe you were raised that way. Maybe some of it's biological. But in looking really deep inside, I would just hate to, at the end of the day, looking back on my deathbed with regret. And that's a harsh way of looking at things, but, it puts things in perspective. Our time here is very limited. I guess some other things that motivate me would include, looking back at my ancestors. I'm an Ancestry.com geek, but, looking back at some of the stories, like, hundreds of years ago, my ancestors coming over here with no safety net, no money, and their promise was opportunity, no safety net. And I compare that to some, so-called risks that I had to take in my own life. That to me is very, very motivational. But, going back to the physical side of things, emotions required. There's a famous Bruce Lee movie, and he gets aggravated, and he says, what we need now is emotional content. And you've got to get your heart into things. You got to put your soul into things. If you are getting yourself worked up to the point of tears before you put out a max effort, then you're getting close. If you have picked up your phone in the middle of your workout and looked at some things, you're not even in the ballpark of getting close to generating any intensity for your workouts. If you have anything left in reserve after you've done a top-end set, well, then that's sub-maximal. You might as well have stayed home. You've got to get very, very, very creative in getting the best out of yourself physically.